Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle a topic that's the secret backbone of pretty much every successful project. But it's often misunderstood, or worse, just ignore it completely. We're talking about project governance.
All right, let's kick things off with a mystery that, probably hits a little too close to home for a lot of us. You've got a great team, right? A solid plan, a clear goal. So why, then, do so many projects still completely fly off the rails?
I mean, the scale of this problem is just staggering. A major study found that a whopping 48%, that's nearly half, of projects fail to meet their basic goals for time, cost, and quality. Just think about that. All that wasted money, the missed opportunities. We love to blame the project team, but the real culprit? It's usually hiding in plain sight.
And that hidden cause? It's often a breakdown in governance. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Governance sounds kinda stuffy, right? Like a lot of bureaucracy and red tape. But it's not that at all. It's actually the operating system for success. So, what is it, really? And how can it have such a huge impact? Okay, let's dive right in. Here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to figure out what governance actually is, we'll map out the framework, see what good versus bad governance looks like, meet the key players, and then finally, we'll get practical and talk about how you can build a governance plan. So, first things first, what exactly is governance? Let's nail down this core concept. Okay, so at its heart, governance is basically the system of rules, the whole culture and environment that shapes how decisions get made. It's the framework that makes sure everyone knows what their job is, that information gets to the right people, and that the organization is, accountable. It's less about one specific decision and more about the entire climate for making them.
And this quote right here, it absolutely nails it. See, good governance isn't some magic 8-ball that guarantees every single decision will be perfect. No way. Instead, it's all about creating a process for making decisions that is reliable, transparent, and fair. And when you trust the process, the quality of the decisions just naturally gets better.
Now let's dig into the structure a bit, because governance isn't just one big, monolithic thing. It's actually a layered system. It connects the highest level corporate strategy all the way down to the nitty-gritty of a single project.
Think of it kind of like a waterfall or a set of Russian nesting dolls. At the very top, you have corporate governance. That's the big picture stuff for the whole company. Then, tucked inside that, you have the governance of project management, which then breaks down even further into 3 levels: portfolio, program, and project. Each one has a different job to do. So, at the highest level, the portfolio level, it's all about the 30,000-foot view. The big question here is, are we even working on the right things? This is where you decide which projects to invest in, which ones to prioritize, and maybe even which ones to kill, all to make sure everything you're doing lines up with the company's main goals.
Okay, zoom in one level, and you get to program governance. This is for when you've got a whole group of related projects that have to work together, to deliver something bigger than any single project could on its own. The focus here is on coordinating everything, being efficient, and making sure all the pieces fit together to achieve that larger vision.
And that brings us down to the ground level, where most of us live every day: project governance. This is the super specific oversight for just one project. It sets the rules of the road, the roles, the structures for getting that one specific job done right, from how you make a decision to how you flag a problem.
So that's the theory. But let's talk about what happens in the real world. Because the difference between good and poor governance isn't just academic. You can literally see it in the data. It's the clear line between success and failure.
And get this is the stat that really blew my mind. In projects that fail, an absolutely astonishing 94% of organizations admitted they didn't even measure the performance of their own governance teams. Just let that sink in for a second. The very people in charge of oversight are flying blind with no metrics. That's like having a referee who isn't even watching the game. And it's no surprise that this lack of measurement leads to some really common problems. Let's take the project sponsor. In a perfect world, they're a coach, a mentor, a protector for the project. But without that strong governance framework holding them accountable, it's so easy to fall into these traps. becoming a micromanager, being too hands-off, or just failing to fight for the project when it counts.
So if governance is a system, who are the actual people responsible for making it run? Well, it definitely takes a village. It's a coordinated effort from a few key players.
We've been talking about the sponsor, and for good reason. It is such a critical, multifaceted role. I mean, look at all the hats they have to wear. They own the business case, they're the final word on big decisions, they step in to resolve conflicts, they're basically a coach, negotiator, and protector all rolled into one. A great sponsor can make all the difference.
But the sponsor is definitely not on an island here. Good governance is a team sport. The executives care because it protects the company and manages risk. The PMO, the Project Management Office, they're all about making sure the framework is used consistently. And project managers, they need it to get their jobs done effectively. Heck, even the auditors have a stake in this, making sure a proper system is in place and being followed.
Okay, this is all great, but here's the crucial part. How do we turn all these ideas into action? It all comes together in one place, a formal, written-down governance plan. Let's look at the blueprint.
Now, a strong governance plan doesn't have to be 1,000 pages long, but it absolutely has to be clear. First, define who does what. No gray areas. Second, map out your authorization points, your stage gates, where you review progress. Third, set clear rules for reporting. Fourth, and this one is so important, create crystal clear escalation paths. When a problem pops up, everyone needs to know exactly who to go to. And finally, make sure it all hooks into the bigger corporate governance picture.
And that really brings us to our final thought. You see, effective governance isn't about creating more rules just for the sake of it. It's about building an intentional, clear blueprint for success. It's about replacing chaos with clarity. So I'll leave you with this question. Take a hard look at your own organization. Is your governance a blueprint for success, or is it an accident waiting to happen? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.